Have you ever felt like someone's words or actions completely ruined your day? That simmering rage, the tight knot in your stomach, the voice in your head screaming, "How dare they?" It's exhausting. Buddha once warned, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." Let that sink in. In a world filled with road rage, office politics and online arguments, we often find ourselves drowning in reactions we later regret. But what if I told you there's a way to stop letting others hijack your peace? A method so ancient yet so transformative that it will challenge everything you thought you knew about control. Here's the truth. Anger isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. Imagine walking through life like a mountain in the middle of a storm, unshaken, calm, untouchable. Sounds impossible, right? That's what I thought too, until I discovered a Buddhist principle that rewires how we process pain. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about disarming them before they poison you. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Did fighting back solve anything? Or did it leave you feeling even worse? The real enemy isn't the person who hurt you. It's the story you keep telling yourself about it. But what if you could stop that story before it takes hold? By the end of this, you'll have 10 practical tools to help you do just that. No meditation cushions, no vague philosophy, just real battle-tested techniques from Buddhist masters who transformed anger into an art form. But here's the catch. One of these principles will shock you. It goes against everything society teaches about standing up for yourself, yet it holds the key to true freedom. If you take away just one thing from this, let it be this. Your peace is non-negotiable. Period. And stick around for the bonus principle at the end, a simple shift in perspective that will make you wonder why you ever complicated life in the first place. Ready to stop just surviving and start thriving? Let's begin. 1. Your reactions are your choice. A man once approached Buddha, furious and hurling insults. He expected a reaction, anger, argument, maybe even a fight. But instead, Buddha simply smiled and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man, confused, replied, "To the one who offered it." Buddha nodded. "Then why should I accept your anger?" This story holds a powerful lesson. Your reactions are always within your control. No one can force you to be angry. You choose it. Life will test your patience. People will be rude. Situations will frustrate you. But the real battle isn't with them. It's within you. Buddhism teaches that anger isn't an external force attacking you. It's an internal decision. And every time you let it take over, you're giving away your power. Buddha once said, "Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned first." When you react in anger, your mind clouds, your judgment weakens, and you lose control. But imagine being like a blacksmith's anvil, steady, unshaken, absorbing the blows without breaking. A blacksmith shapes metal through controlled fire, not reckless flames. Likewise, you can shape your reactions through awareness instead of letting emotions consume you. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, insults you, or tries to push your buttons, pause and ask yourself, "Is this worth my peace?" Most of the time, the answer will be no, because in reality, your anger doesn't harm the other person. It only poisons your own mind. But here's the twist. Anger itself isn't the enemy. It's a signal, a messenger. It tells you when something feels unjust or out of balance. Instead of suppressing it, observe it. Ask yourself, what is this anger trying to teach me? Maybe it's revealing a boundary that needs to be set. Maybe it's exposing an insecurity that still lingers. When you approach anger with curiosity instead of resistance, you turn it into a tool for self-awareness rather than self-destruction. So here's a challenge. The next time anger arises, don't suppress it. Don't lash out blindly. Pause. Take a breath. Observe it. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? In that moment of awareness, watch how anger loses its grip on you. Comment below, what's one thing that made you angry this week? Let's transform anger into wisdom. Together. 2. Pause before reacting. A monk once walked through a village known for its hostility toward outsiders. As he moved along, a group of men began mocking him, hurling insults and throwing stones in his path. Yet the monk remained calm, his breath steady, his face serene. One of the men, confused by the monk's silence, ran up to him and demanded, "Why don't you say something? Why don't you fight back?" The monk simply smiled and replied, "If someone hands you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man paused, realization dawning. The monk's silence wasn't weakness, it was power. In life, we often believe that reacting immediately is necessary, that if we don't respond with anger, we're somehow losing. But the truth is, reacting without thinking is what makes us weak. The difference between a master and a fool is just one thing, a single moment, the pause between stimulus and response. A wise person doesn't let emotions hijack their actions. They create space. They choose. A Buddhist master once said, "Respond, don't react." The gap is where freedom lies. Think of a massive suspension bridge. It doesn't collapse under the weight of passing cars because of intentional gaps built into its structure. These pauses distribute pressure, allowing the bridge to remain strong. Likewise, in your own life, the moments of pause protect you from breaking under pressure. The next time someone says something cruel or you receive a toxic text, pause. This is just the beginning. Mastering anger isn't about never feeling it. It's about learning how to process it without letting it control you. Ready for the next steps? Stick around for the remaining Buddhist strategies that will transform the way you handle anger forever. 3. Separate feelings from reactions. A student once asked his master, "How do I stop getting angry?" The master handed him a glass jar filled with water. "Shake it as hard as you can," he instructed. The student obeyed, and within moments, the water turned into a swirling storm of chaos. The master then placed the jar on the table. "Now let it settle." Slowly, the water became still again. The master smiled. "Your emotions are like this storm, but you, your true self, are the jar. The storm will pass, but only if you don't shake it further." Most people believe they are their emotions, that anger, frustration, or sadness defines them. But here's the truth. Emotions are just passing weather. You are the sky. The problem isn't feeling anger. The problem is letting anger dictate your actions. A Buddhist teacher put it simply, feel the feeling, drop the story. The story is what fuels suffering. They shouldn't have done this to me. This isn't fair. I deserve better. These thoughts keep you trapped. But when you learn to separate feelings from reactions, you reclaim your freedom. Think about a storm. It rages, it howls, but it never destroys the sky. It only passes through. Likewise, anger will come and go, but it does not own you. The key is to observe without attachment. The next time you feel anger rising, instead of acting on it, just notice it. Say to yourself, anger is here, not I am angry, just anger is visiting me. This tiny shift changes everything. It reminds you that emotions are temporary guests, not permanent residents. A simple way to practice this? Write it down. The next time anger grips you, put it on paper. Every frustrating thought, every emotion, let it out. Then safely burn it or tear it apart. This isn't about ignoring emotions. It's about releasing them. Writing externalizes anger. giving you space to process without reacting. And when you watch it turn to ashes, you remind yourself, I am not my emotions. I am the one observing them. But here's the twist. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Pain is the moment someone betrays you, disrespects you, or frustrates you. Suffering is the endless replaying of that moment in your mind. Pain is real, but suffering is a choice. You don't have to carry every storm that passes through. You don't have to let anger live rent-free in your heart. Instead, acknowledge it, feel it, and then let it go. Here's your challenge. The next time anger visits, don't react. Instead, write it down, observe it, and let it go. Try this for 1 week and see the difference. Comment below. What's one emotion you struggle to let go of? Let's learn to be the sky, not the storm, together. 4. Let go of expectations. A traveler once came to a Zen master, frustrated and exhausted. I have done everything right, he said. I work hard. I treat people well. Yet life doesn't give me what I deserve. People betray me, disappoint me. It's unfair. The master listened, then pointed to a river flowing nearby. Do you see that river? It does not argue with the rocks in its path. It does not demand that they move. It simply flows around them. The traveler was silent. The master continued. Suffering comes not from obstacles, but from the belief that they should not be there. The fastest way to frustration is expecting life, people, and circumstances to follow the script you've written in your mind. You expect others to understand you, to treat you the way you treat them, to appreciate your efforts, and when they don't, anger rises. But here's the truth. Expectations are self-made prisons. Every should you hold on to tightens the bars. They should apologize. They should know how I feel. This shouldn't have happened to me. But the world does not operate by your rules. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You free yourself from the need for life to be a certain way before you can be happy. Think of the river. It flows. It does not resist. It moves with life, not against it. And that is where true peace is found. So here's your challenge. For the next week, notice every time you say should about a situation or person. Instead of clinging to expectation, choose to flow like the river. Watch how much lighter you feel. Comment below. What's one expectation you need to let go of? Let's break free, together. The path to peace starts here. Mastering anger isn't about never feeling it. It's about learning how to process it without letting it control you. By practicing these principles, you'll start to move through life with calm, clarity, and unshakable inner peace. So, are you ready for the next step? Stick around for the remaining Buddhist strategies that will completely transform how you handle anger forever. Let go of expectations. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means gaining freedom. As Shah once said, if you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have a lot of peace. Clinging to expectations is like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. True peace comes when you open your hand and let life flow, as it is, not as you demand it to be. Imagine standing in a river, trying to push the water backward. That's what resisting reality feels like, fighting what already is. But the river doesn't stop for obstacles. It doesn't argue with the rocks. It doesn't demand that they move. It flows, and so must you. The next time you catch yourself thinking, they should understand me, or this shouldn't be happening, pause. Replace it with, I release my need to control. This simple shift transforms your energy from resistance to acceptance. Letting go doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. It means not allowing it to control your inner peace. But here's the twist. When you expect nothing, everything is a gift. When you stop demanding life to be a certain way, you open yourself to what is. You realize that peace was never outside of you. It was only blocked by your own attachments. The less you grip, the more you receive. Your challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever frustration arises, ask yourself, what expectation am I holding on to right now? Then breathe and say, I release my need to control. Watch how this small practice lightens your heart. Comment below, what's one expectation you struggle to let go of? Let's learn to flow like the river, together. 5. Choose peace over being right. A samurai once challenged a Zen master to a debate. The samurai was fierce, skilled in battle, and known for his sharp tongue, but the master simply sat in silence. Frustrated, the samurai demanded, "Defend yourself! Show me your wisdom!" The master smiled and said, "If someone hands you a poisoned gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does it belong?" The samurai frowned, realizing the answer. The master continued, "Likewise, when someone offers you conflict, you do not have to take it. Most people believe winning an argument gives them power, that proving a point makes them superior. But here's the truth. Winning an argument often means losing inner peace. You may win in words, but at what cost? Restlessness, resentment, a mind replaying the conversation over and over. Buddhism teaches that true wisdom isn't in having the last word, but in knowing when words are unnecessary. The Dhammapada says, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Think of bamboo swaying in the wind. It does not fight the storm. It does not resist. It bends, it flows, and because of that, it never breaks. Arguments are the same. The more rigid you are, the easier you snap. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Instead of engaging, simply say, "I see your point." Not because you agree, but because you value peace more than proving yourself. Watch how this single sentence dissolves tension. Watch how power shifts to you. But let's go deeper. Why do we fight to be right? Because the ego craves validation. It feeds on superiority, being seen as the smartest, proving others wrong. But what the ego doesn't tell you is that being right often isolates you. Being right creates walls. Choosing peace builds bridges. Imagine two people locked in a heated argument, each convinced they are right. What do they gain? A bruised ego, a broken connection, wasted energy. Now imagine one of them stepping back and saying, "You may be right." The fire dies instantly. The argument ends, not in defeat, but in wisdom. Some might think this is weakness, but in reality it's the ultimate strength. It takes no effort to yell, prove, or fight, but to walk away, smile, and let go. That takes mastery. A wise person doesn't chase validation, they chase peace, and in doing so, they always win without ever needing to fight. Your challenge for the next 7 days when conflict arises: 1. Pause. 2. Say, "I see your point." Observe what happens, not to submit, but to rise above, to value peace over ego. Comment below, when did choosing peace surprise you? Let's learn to be like bamboo, strong yet flexible, peaceful yet unbreakable. 6. Detach your worth from others' opinions. A young monk once asked the Buddha, "Master, people praise you and people insult you. Do their words not trouble you?" The Buddha smiled and picked up a rock. "If I call this a diamond, does it change?" The monk shook his head. "If I call it worthless, does it lose its weight?" Again the monk shook his head. The Buddha continued, "Then why should your worth change because of someone's words? Most people live as if their value is borrowed, as if it depends on others' approval. A compliment makes them feel worthy. A criticism makes them question themselves. But here's the truth. Your worth is not a vote. It is not determined by how many people approve of you. Whether praised or insulted, you remain the same. The Dhammapada states, just as a solid rock isn't shaken by the wind, the wise aren't moved by praise or blame. Think of a diamond. Whether a jeweler admires it or a child mistakes it for glass, does its value change? No, it remains a diamond. But most people treat themselves like paper, crumpling at every insult, folding at every rejection. Detach, not from people, but from the need for validation. When you do, you become unshakable. The next time someone criticizes you, pause and ask yourself, is this a reflection of me or of them? Because people see you not as you are, but as they are. A bitter person will call you selfish. An insecure person will call you arrogant. A wise person, they will say nothing at all, because they know you are not their mirror. Want to train this mindset? Try this. Write down 3 self-affirmations every time you feel hurt by someone's words. If they call you weak, remind yourself, I am resilient. If they call you unworthy, write, I define my own worth. Stand firm like a rock. The less you need approval, the more respect you gain. Comment below, what's one opinion you've stopped letting define you? Let's rise together. 7. Set boundaries to protect your energy. A wise man once said, you can't pour from an empty cup. Yet, so many people live as if they must give endlessly their time, energy and attention until there's nothing left for themselves. They absorb negativity, tolerate disrespect, and stretch themselves thin, all in the name of being kind. But real kindness isn't self-sacrifice, it's self-respect. The Buddhist sage Shantideva once said, if you don't tend to your own flame, how will you light others' lamps? Your energy is your kingdom. Imagine a peaceful kingdom inside a castle, protected by a moat. That moat isn't there to keep out friends, it's there to keep the peace. Your energy is the kingdom. Your boundaries are the moat. Yet so many people let invaders in, believing that saying no is selfish. But here's the truth. Boundaries don't push people away. They teach people how to treat you. Have you ever felt drained after a conversation? That's a sign your moat has run dry. Some people bring light, others drain it, and if you allow them to pull you into their chaos, you'll mistake their storm for your own. Master the art of protecting your peace. The next time someone makes a demand on your energy, 1. Pause. 2. Say, I'll revisit this when I'm centered. This isn't avoidance, it's self-mastery. It's understanding that you cannot control how others act, but you can control what you allow. Some people will resist your boundaries. They may call you cold, selfish, uncaring. But understand this, people who get upset when you set limits are the ones who benefited from you having none. Do not let their discomfort make you question your worth. A peaceful life is built by protecting, not pleasing. Think of a monk meditating in the mountains. Does he allow every passerby to disturb him? Number. Not because he lacks compassion, but because he understands. His stillness serves a greater purpose. Likewise, when you guard your energy, you create space for what truly matters. Growth. Connection. Purpose boundaries are not walls. They are bridges. They teach people how to respect you, how to value your presence rather than take it for granted. And most importantly, they give you permission to choose peace over obligation. Your challenge. The next time someone drains your energy, 1. Pause. Instead of reacting, say, I'll revisit this when I'm centered. 3. Observe how it shifts the dynamic. Notice how reclaiming your space strengthens, not weakens, your relationships. Comment below, what's one boundary you wish you had set sooner? Let's build a life where peace is protected, not sacrificed. 8. Respond with silence, not anger. A man once insulted the Buddha, hurling words like stones, trying to provoke a reaction, but the Buddha simply smiled. Frustrated, the man asked, "Why don't you respond?" The Buddha replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man stood in silence, realizing the answer. Anger only belongs to those who carry it. The illusion of fighting every battle. Most people believe they must fight every battle, defend every insult, prove every point, react to every provocation. But here's the truth. Nothing strengthens conflict like resistance. When you react with anger, you fuel the fire. But when you respond with silence, the fire starves itself. Zen master Seng Tsan taught, "The great way is not difficult, just cease having opinions." This doesn't mean you become indifferent. It means you understand. Not every comment needs a reply. Not every insult needs a defense. Be like a mirror. Think of a mirror. When someone stands before it, it reflects, but it does not absorb. You must be the same. If someone throws anger at you and you do not absorb it, where does it go? Nowhere. It dissolves. But if you engage, if you reflect back that anger, it multiplies. Silence is not weakness, it's mastery. The next time someone tries to provoke you, try this. 1, pause. 2, say nothing. 3, watch. Observe how their energy falters when it meets stillness instead of resistance. They expect a reaction. Don't give them what they want. If you are silent, their words remain with them. If you react, you now carry their burden. The choice is always yours. Your 24-hour power challenge for the next 24 hours. No complaints, no defenses, no reactions to negativity. Whenever you feel the urge to argue, hold your breath for 3 seconds, then let it pass. Observe how much power you regain simply by choosing not to engage. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about choosing where to place your energy. The hidden power of silence. Here's the twist. Silence does not make you passive, it makes you unshakable. It forces others to sit with their own energy instead of projecting it onto you. And when you become someone who is not easily provoked, you become someone who cannot be controlled. Your challenge for the next 24 hours. No complaints, no defenses, no reactions to negativity. If someone criticizes you, let it pass like the wind. Comment below, when was a time silence gave you power? Let's become unshakable together. 9. Reframe situations, change your perspective, change your life. A traveler once entered a village where he was met with hostility. The people sneered at him, whispered behind his back. He felt anger rise within him, ready to react. But then he paused and asked himself, what if this is not an attack but a lesson? Instead of reacting, he observed. He soon realized the villagers weren't cruel, they were afraid of outsiders. Instead of returning their hostility, he responded with kindness. And in time, their suspicion melted. This is the power of reframing. Nothing has meaning except the meaning. You give it. Every situation in life is a blank canvas. Your perspective is the brush. When something happens, you have 2 choices. See it as an obstacle, see it as a lesson. The Buddha taught, with our thoughts, we make the world. Imagine holding a camera. If you zoom in on frustration, all you'll see is negativity. But if you shift the focus, you might find an opportunity hidden in the challenge. That boss who micromanages you, maybe they just need reassurance. That difficult person in your life, maybe they are here to teach you patience. The moment you change your perspective, the weight of the world lifts. What about real pain? Reframing doesn't mean denying reality. It means choosing how you respond to it. Think of a storm in a jar. When you shake it, the water churns, chaotic, restless. But beneath it, the jar itself remains steady. You are the jar, not the storm. The storm will pass, but only if you don't become attached to it. Turn problems into stepping stones. Next time you feel frustration, stop and ask, what is this teaching me? How can this serve me? A breakup? An invitation to self-love? Rejection? A redirection to something better? Failure? A stepping stone to growth. A closed door isn't a dead end, it's a detour to something greater. Your challenge: pick one frustration today. Reframe it, write it down. What new meaning can I give this situation? If traffic is making you angry, see it as a moment to practice patience. If someone criticizes you, recognize it as a chance to build confidence. If plans fall apart, see it as space for something better. The moment you shift your perspective, the world stops working against you and starts working for you. Here's the twist. Every problem is just a question in disguise. The universe isn't punishing you, it's asking, how will you respond? Will you resist, or will you learn? Comment below, what's one challenge you can reframe today? Let's reshape our world, one thought at a time. 10. Practice emotional mastery. Control your response, control your life. A young warrior once sought the wisdom of a Zen master. Master, I try to stay calm, but the world constantly provokes me. How do I defeat my emotions? The master smiled and handed him a sword. Sharpen this blade every day, but never use it in battle. Confused, the warrior obeyed. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. One day he was provoked, but instead of reacting, he laughed. At that moment, he finally understood. Mastery isn't about control, it's about transformation. Emotional mastery is not suppression. It's not about pretending you don't feel anger, sadness, or frustration. It's about understanding your emotions and choosing how to respond. The great philosopher Milarepa once said, "Happiness and suffering are your own creations. Take responsibility." This means your emotions don't control you. You control them. Not by force, but by awareness. Think of a sword. It doesn't become sharp instantly. It's refined through daily practice. Your mind is the same. Every emotional challenge is an opportunity to sharpen your inner blade. How to master your emotions? Let's be honest. Some emotions hit hard. A comment, a betrayal, a setback. It feels personal. In those moments, your emotions will try to own you. But pause. Instead of reacting, observe. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Is this reaction necessary? Could I have responded differently? The more you fight emotions, the more they control you. The moment you acknowledge them, their power over you weakens. A simple daily practice. Try this. 1. At the end of each day, write down one emotional trigger. 2. Ask yourself, what upset me today? What caused me stress? Was my reaction necessary? Over time, you'll start to notice patterns. Maybe certain people always trigger you. Maybe specific situations make you defensive. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Mastery isn't perfection, it's presence. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who never feel anger. They are the ones who recognize anger, let it pass, and remain unshaken. Think of the ocean. The waves will come, some gentle, some fierce. But beneath it, the depth of the ocean remains still. You are not the waves. You are the depth beneath them. Your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice emotional mastery. When something provokes you, pause. Take a deep breath. Write it down. Instead of reacting, respond with intention. Comment below. What emotion do you struggle to master the most? Let's sharpen our swords, one mindful moment at a time. Bonus principle. Embrace impermanence as liberation. Nothing lasts forever. Not pain, not joy, not even the struggles that seem endless. The Buddha once said, "This too shall pass." Yet we resist change. We cling to things, people and emotions, hoping they will stay the same. But life is like a river, always flowing, never stagnant. Embrace impermanence, the secret to true freedom. In a quiet monastery, monks spend days carefully crafting intricate sand mandalas, only to sweep them away upon completion. Why? Because beauty lies in impermanence. The moment we embrace this truth, we stop fearing loss and start living freely. Nothing lasts forever, and that's a gift. How many times have you felt trapped by a problem, convinced it would never end? Maybe it was. Heartbreak, financial struggles, an argument that consumed your peace. But look back, how many of those problems still exist today? The suffering wasn't in the situation itself, but in your resistance to change. Clinging to what was, or what should have been, creates suffering. Letting go opens the door to freedom. Pain is not permanent. Only our attachment to it is a storm, may rage, but it will pass. A wound may hurt, but it will heal. Even the deepest grief softens over time, but the mind plays tricks on us. When something bad happens, we catastrophize. This is my life now. But zoom out. A problem that feels enormous today may be insignificant in a year. Ask yourself, what problem do I have today that might not even exist a year from now? The answer might surprise you. The universe is always changing, so why do we fear change? Think of nature. Seasons change, tides rise and fall. The sun sets only to rise again. Nothing in existence remains the same. Yet we hold on to relationships long past their expiration date, goals that no longer serve us, emotions that no longer need to define us. But what if, instead of fearing change, we welcomed it? What if every ending was actually a new beginning? Whisper these 4 words. This is not forever. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, repeat to yourself, this is not forever. These 4 words hold immense power. They remind you that pain is fleeting. No hardship is eternal. If you can sit with discomfort without grasping at it, something incredible happens. It loses its hold over you. You are not your struggles, you are the awareness behind them. Imagine sitting on a hill, watching clouds drift by. Your thoughts and emotions are those clouds. They come and go. But you are the sky, vast, unshaken, free. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean giving up or being indifferent. It means living fully in each moment, knowing that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. Everything that ends makes space for something new. The job you lost made space for a better opportunity. The heartbreak you endured prepared you for deeper love. The fear you faced shaped your strength. Everything changes, and in that change, there is a gift. If today were temporary, how would you live differently? Would you let petty arguments steal your peace, waste time dwelling on things beyond your control? Or would you surrender to the flow of life, embracing its ever-changing nature with open arms? The choice is yours. Let go, breathe, trust, because nothing lasts forever, and that's a beautiful thing. Quick summary. 10 Principles for Unshakable Peace. 1. Your reactions are your choice. Anger is a choice, not an obligation. The Buddha teaches, you are punished by your anger, not for it. 2. Pause. Before reacting between stimulus and response, there is a space. Breathe first, act later. 3. Separate feelings from reactions. Emotions are temporary, but your core remains steady. 4. Let go of expectations. Suffering comes from clinging to how things should be. Flow like water. 5. Choose peace over being right. Winning an argument often costs inner peace. Prioritize harmony over ego battles. 6. Detach your worth from others' opinions. Your value is intrinsic. The wise aren't moved by praise or blame. 7. Set boundaries to protect your energy. Compassion starts with self-protection. Say no to toxicity. 8. Respond with silence, not anger. Silence disarms chaos. Reflect, don't absorb. 9. Reframe situations, shift from why me to what is this teaching? Your thoughts shape your reality. 10th. Practice emotional mastery. Discipline builds resilience. The strongest people aren't emotionless. They just don't let emotions control them. Surrender to the present, not control. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Buddha. Your inner world shapes your outer reality. Every moment of anger and flicker of resentment is just a mirror, reflecting your attachment to illusion. What if, instead of fighting the storm, you became the sky, vast, untroubled, and free? Let go or be dragged. Zen teaches, let go or be dragged. The principles you've learned today aren't just tools. They are invitations to rewire your relationship with life itself. Imagine living without the weight of others' words, where insults dissolve like raindrops in the ocean. That power isn't mystical, it's yours to claim. The paradox of strength. True strength lies in surrender. The monk who smiles at an insult isn't weak. They've mastered the art of non-resistance. As the Diamond Sutra reminds us, all conditioned things are like a dream, a phantom, a drop of dew. Why clutch a mirage? Final thought, drop the coin entirely. A Zen koan asks, what is the sound of one hand clapping? It's not a riddle. It's a call to transcend duality. Anger and peace, pain and joy are just two sides of the same coin. Your job isn't to pick a side. It's to drop the coin entirely. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Buddha. Your mind is the battlefield, and you hold the sword. Sharpen it daily. If this resonated, hit like, share this wisdom, and subscribe for more keys to unshakable peace. The journey begins now.